Good evening, everybody. This is Marcus Patman, and this is going to be a video that talks about Turbo-Flow Claude. In this case, I just updated. I'm calling it 1.0.1.alpha. So what is Turbo-Flow Claude? It is an advanced agentic development environment. It's started off supporting just DevPods, and I've recently added GitHub Codespaces and more. I've also added I've aliased all the Claude-flow commands for the latest version of Claude-flow, which I will show you. We have 600 AI sub-agents, and use Spark methodology and automatic context loading. So we're going to kind of show you how to use this thing. So the first thing you want to do for the DevPods, you want to install the DevPods, the software, and then you want to configure a provider. So providers could be AWS. In this case, I'm using DigitalOcean, and there's different settings for that. So just look at the DevPod docs, and then once you get it configured, then all you need to do is just do a DevPod up, and you can point it at my repo and put this IDE VS Code on the end, and when it finishes booting up, it will automatically pop up a VS Code window. Now I'm going to show you here. I already have this going. This is right up here. I ran the DevPod up command right here. It takes a little while. This takes a little while. I don't know if it'll be done by the end of the video, but what I'm going to show you from start to finish is Codespaces, because it's a lot quicker. So basically, yeah, you just run DevPod up, and eventually this will pop up a VS Code window, a separate VS Code window, and you will be able to begin work. So with Codespaces, you want to go to any GitHub repository, and you want to fire up a code space from that repository. And then what I would recommend you do from there is you go to the repo here, and you go to GitHub Codespaces setup.md, which we have here. It's just a markdown file in the root of the Turbo-Flow Claude project. And you want to go over here. So this is what I have. I have a code space set up. It's just a utility I wrote called file hasher. What we're going to do, we're going to just create the boot script here, and we're going to run the boot script. So we sit here, and we're going to do a touch, boot at sh, we're going to make it executable, and then we're going to start it up in an editor. So here we go, cut and paste that. And we go back over here, and we're going to cut and paste the actual script. And we're going to save that. And then we're going to run it. And what this is going to do is going to install all the Turbo-Flow commands, all the Turbo-Flow stuff. That Turbo-Flow. It's going to install the agents. It's going to install Claude-flow. It's going to install tmux. It's going to install aliases, all kinds of good stuff. And this is what I use for my agentic development currently. So this isn't perfect. There's not like a development team maintaining this. So if you're running any problems, feel free to reach out, but understand that I'm just kind of sharing with you guys what I use. But at the end of the day, especially if you haven't used Agentic, or if you're a experienced developer, this will give you everything you need to play around. And the agents that it installs, there's not just coding agents, there's all kinds of non-coding agents, which I will show you once this is done. So what we got going on over here, we have our DevPods that are still rolling. Like I said, this takes a while. I don't know if it'll be done. It also installs Playwright, which is a which is a web browser that you can use, that agents can use to test front ends to make sure that everything looks okay. All kinds of stuff. If you want to know exactly what everything is, in fact, we can go over here to DevPods and to the setup here, and that will show you everything. It's everything that gets installed right here. So inside the DevPods directory. Go back to the main one here, and we will get back into see where we're at here. So we're waiting for the code space to fire up, which shouldn't take too long. Since we have a little time, I'll go back over here. The Claude-md, which is the context, which will keep your AI in line. Oh yeah, aliases. Here's all the Claude-flow aliases that will be at your disposal, so you can reference this document for it. So CF, CF swarm, CF spawn, CF wizard, etc., etc. These commands load context, so it'll actually load in all the Claude-md context with the command. You don't have to give it the command, but you can if you want to. A lot of times I will. The one thing I've noticed about Claude is sometimes Claude will forget the context. So just mentioning it, at the end of your prompt, hey, use the rules in Claude-md, it can't hurt. So let's see where we're at now with all this stuff. So we're still rolling here, and we're still rolling here. Differences between DevPods and Codespaces. DevPods you can have on DigitalOcean, like I'm having. You can have on AWS. You can have on GCP, Rackspace. Whereas with Codespaces is GitHub Codespaces. However, with GitHub Codespaces, it's free up to 100 hours or something a month, which is pretty generous. So here we go. We have the Claude. We have the Turbo-Flow Claude environment up here. And what we have here, we have 4 windows. So there's the first Claude window. There's a second Claude window. Here, this is for your Claude monitor. We're not running Claude, so it's not going to run right now. And then the fourth window is running HTOP, which is a nice utility to kind of show you, how your resources are doing on your machine, or your container, so we say. So we go back over to, just to show you some of the different things it has. We have agents. We have all these agents, which just go through a lot. Some of these are coding agents, others are non-coding agents, industry expertise, thought leaders. I think there's a sports betting agent in here. So just all kinds of agents. And what you can do is you can just, within your prompt, you can just tell Claude, it's already in the Claude-md, but you can just tell Claude just pick the right agents that it needs. Aliases, we can show you. I showed you the aliases, so you can see here all the aliases are set. What else can I show you? That's really about it. Like I said, look at the docs, and if you have any questions, reach out. I hope this is helpful to you. Like I said, this gives you everything you need to start playing around with agentic engineering today. So with that, I'm gonna say I do, and I hope this video was helpful to you.